Hi guys, welcome back to Too Cool for Middle School. As I'm getting ready to go back to school and start the next school year, there are a few new things that I'm going to do. And so I thought I would just make a couple of videos about those new things and show you what I plan on implementing. So one of those new things is a curriculum by Google, and it's called Be Internet Awesome. It looks like this. I printed out all of it. It's really not too long and you don't even need to print it. It's online, but I just wanted to be able to show you. This is Digital Citizenship and Safety Curriculum. I think I first found out about it through John Green's Twitter. I'm a huge John Green fan. What? Oh my gosh, my husband's little basketball team just beat Carmelo Anthony's son's team at this tournament that they're at in Vegas. Wow. Not that I didn't believe in them, but really? That's pretty impressive. Anyway, back to the curriculum. John Green and Hank Green are like the kings of YouTube, the kings of the internet. They have multiple YouTube channels. They were some of the first YouTubers. They started VidCon, and I feel like they are people who really make the internet a better place. The internet can be a horrible place, but they attempt to make it a really positive and enriching place. And like with any powerful tool, the internet can be used for amazing things or for really, really horrible, destructive things. And at my school, we have one-to-one Chromebooks. I think many schools in the country are kind of moving toward that model. So many of us are implementing technology in our classrooms because we know that it works. It's great for learning, it's great for engagement, and this is what students need to know how to do. These are the kind of skills that they're going to need to have in their jobs and in college and all of that. So it's very, very useful to use technology in your classroom and to give students their own devices. However, I also feel that when we give students access to these incredibly powerful tools, we also need to make sure to educate them in how to use them safely and wisely. And this curriculum does a really good job of that, at least from what I can tell so far. So I'm just going to share this with you so that you can decide if this is something that you would want to use. Obviously, I'm not like sponsored by them or anything. I just think this is really good, and I'm passionate about using the internet in a positive way. Obviously, I'm on social media all the time. I use Instagram all the time. I put out YouTube videos. I shop online. My information is out there everywhere, and I'm constantly learning more and more about good practices and internet safety. And I love the way that the internet brings people together, but I also understand that it can be destructive. So let's just take a little peek into what they give you here. And this is free. Just Google Internet Awesome and it will come up. So one of the first things that they give you is a little letter or email template for parents, just so that they are aware of everything that you're doing. And actually, as a parent, if I got this would really set my mind at ease, because I think there are a lot of parents who are a little bit nervous about their kids having access to so much technology. And so if they see that the school is also taking steps to educate their kids about how to use the internet responsibly, I would be happy to hear that. So I think this is a really easy thing to send out to parents, and I would think that you'll earn a few points by doing that. Trust points. So like I said, there are 5 lessons. The first one is called Share with Care, Protecting Your Online Reputation. All of the lessons include a lesson overview. There are themes, goals, and then standards addressed, technology standards. And they always have vocabulary words right at the very beginning. For this lesson, the vocabulary words are digital footprint, personal information, settings, and boundary. So this is some of that academic vocabulary that is not only academic, but applies to real life. And these are words that are going to come up that all of your students need to know, whether they're English learners or native speakers. They need to understand these technological terms. Some of them I hadn't even heard, so this starts with goals, which are like objectives. You could write these on the board or just talk about them at the beginning. And then there's a little let's talk section just to introduce the lesson. And the question for this one is, why does privacy matter? There's a little activity about making up a secret and sharing it with the class and discussing whether or not it's an appropriate secret. I feel like with middle schoolers, this could get weird. I actually would probably skip that one. Just being honest, I don't know how useful that one would be, especially because I love this second one so much. So this is the profile guessing game. And even though I wouldn't print most of this for my students, you could just push it out on Google Classroom, I would maybe just print this one sheet for each group of students. And all of these activities I feel like are most effective in small groups of maybe 2 or 3 kids. And then you could have your full class discussions, ideally in like a community circle, or just as a, as a whole class if you can't do community circles. Okay, so what this is each student, this is kind of like it's like a Facebook profile. So it's got some comments, a link that they have saved, places where they checked in, events that they went to, and then underneath each profile, students are supposed to write down their like impressions of these students. What kind of a person do you think that they are based on their profile? And then as the teacher, you're gonna have like the real Jenny or Tyler or whatever, and you'll get to tell your students more about them at the end. But would they have come to those conclusions based on their profiles? Like sometimes your profile doesn't tell you everything about a person. Then the next activity is kind of part of it. Then you look at one of the characters from different points of view, like from their parents or police or a coach or an advertiser, because that's really who's looking at our profiles, right? Or an employer, and just discuss like what those different points of view would probably gather from somebody's profile. And so a lot of this is just discussion based. You don't have a lot of answers. There's no teacher handbook with the answers to all of these questions. It's just to get kids talking and thinking. So anyway, the last activity has just some examples. And like one of them is someone posts, "Have a good vacation" on a friend's social media page. And you're supposed to discuss like what are the possible consequences of that. That seems totally innocent. Just say, "Have a nice vacation," but maybe you could have done that in just a private text message or a DM or something, because now other people can see that and they know that like their house is going to be empty next week. And we don't often think of those kinds of outside consequences, especially when you assume the best in people. Then you're a little more likely to share more. But you have to just kind of assume that there could be people that don't have great intentions. And this is a really good place to start that conversation. Okay, and then the best thing at the end of each lesson, there is a computer game. So it's called Interland. That's where you go and play all the games. So the blue level is called Mindful Mountain, and they get to play these computer games. I played them, I tried it out. I also had my summer school kids play the games so that they could get like further and show me what was at the end of the game, because I was never very good at them. But they're fun. Like your kids will really like playing these games. And then that's not the end of it. They play the game, and then that leads you to even more discussion about what they noticed in the game. And so depending on your time frame, like how you want to do this, if you're a secondary teacher and you only have your kids for like less than an hour each day, you might want to have them play the game at home and then come back the next day, have a little discussion on some of these topics, and then like move on to your lesson for the day. So if you're worried about being able to fit this in, I feel like you could kind of make it take as long or as short as you want it to. I think I would do each lesson weekly. I don't think I would try and get through this like all in 5 days, just because it's a lot of information, a lot to think about, but you can kind of adjust it to your schedule, decide how you want to do it. And some of the possible discussion questions are like, what is one example of a possible negative consequence from sharing something with the public instead of just your friends? You know, like on Facebook when you set your privacy settings, like what steps can you take if you accidentally share something personal? I feel like we scare kids a lot and tell them like, if you put something on the internet, it's there forever, it's never going away, so don't make any mistakes. And that's just hard to listen to sometimes, you know, so giving them a broader way to think about it is useful, I think. So anyway, the next lesson that you could do maybe the next week is called Don't Fall for Fake. This is super important and something I never got really any training in, and our kids really don't either. So the vocabulary for this is phishing, spear phishing. What is spear phishing? A phishing scam where an attacker targets you more precisely by using pieces of your own personal information. Oh, see, I didn't even know that. I don't quite understand that, but okay. Scam, trustworthy, authentic, verifiable, deceptive, fraudulent, and firewall. So clearly this is probably for like middle and high school. This would be a little tough for kids below that age range. So there are a few activities in this one. It's mostly just strategies on how to identify fake like emails or websites or whatever. So again, this is something that I would probably print rather than just push out. So it gives kind of like screenshots of different sites, and then you're supposed to say, is this real or fake? And again, I would definitely do this in small groups so that they can have some conversation about it. I think there are 5 examples, and then you'll have a larger group discussion about, like, okay, who thought this one was fake? Who thought it was real? Why did you think it was fake, or why did you trust it? And then there are strategies to help you spot fake or real profiles. So like, for example, is their profile picture suspicious? Does their displayed name match their username? Do they have a personal biography? How long has the account been active? I mean, I feel like once you're on the internet for a while, you start to recognize those things. Like, you know, when you get like a Facebook request from somebody in a bikini, like saying, let's be friends, you know that's probably fake. But these guys haven't had as much experience as we have. I don't know if they are the digital natives. I feel like my generation is more the digital natives, because we like grew up and changed with the internet as it grew up and changed. Like, we did instant messenger, and then we did MySpace, and we did Facebook. So we know like everything that the internet was and has become. So I don't know, I feel like I know more than my students do, but there are definitely things that they know a lot better than me. Okay, this activity I really like as well. This is the second one, and I would print this on like cardstock and then cut the little scenarios into strips and give them to the different groups. There are 6 scenarios, so you could have 6 different groups. And one of them is, oh, see? You get a message request online from a stranger. Hey, you seem like a fun person to hang out with. Let's have some fun together. Can you add me to your friends list? From Jason. I'd be like, block, delete. But they give you different ways that you could have handled that situation, and you just let them talk about it. So should you ignore Jason? One way to go. Should you say, hi Jason, do I know you? I suppose that's one way to go too. Block Jason, yes. Add him to your friends list, check his profile, or give him personal information. So obviously some of those options are really not smart, and you shouldn't be doing those, but you know, maybe there's not just one correct answer. You could ignore or block, and I suppose you could say, hi Jason, do I know you? Sounds like a waste of your time, but maybe. So anyway, there are those discussion points for each one of the scenarios, and then you go to Interland, where all the games are, and you play Reality River. And then you really have to play the game in order to do the last bit of discussion topics, because like it says, what is a fisher? Describe its behaviors and how it affects the game. So the fact that it includes computer games, I think is awesome, and this will really get your students into it. And they're using their computers to learn about computers, but they're also, you know, discussing and talking with people face to face. So I think it's a perfect blend. Okay, the next lesson, number 3, is secure your secrets, getting real about privacy and security. And these vocabulary words are privacy, security, 2-step verification, security token, and password. What is a security token? Okay, so this one is all about creating a strong password. And most of my students can't remember a password to save their freaking life. They just have their like student ID for everything, and then anytime they use something different, they can't get back into the website or whatever. So even this discussion, I feel like, could be helpful just in knowing how to make strong passwords that you will remember. Oh, and then I remember this game, it was kind of fun. It's like Mario or something, where you're like going through this little land, and there's all these like numbers and letters, and you have to like go catch them all, and then eventually it like builds a password for you. And then you have discussions about the strength of the passwords. So that one is pretty useful, I think, because eventually they're not gonna just use their school email for everything. They're going to open accounts on YouTube or maybe online banking or for FAFSA or whatever. So they're gonna need to know how to create strong passwords and accounts that can't be hacked into. The next lesson, lesson 4, is it's cool to be kind. And this is probably my favorite, just because all of us have seen the effects of sitting behind a computer screen and having the boldness to say things that we wouldn't say to someone's face. On the person's side who's doing the writing, they don't really have this emotional connection. They're just saying whatever they want. But then the person who reads the message, they still feel it just as strongly as they would have in real life. And those hurtful comments can cause a lot of damage. And we've seen like the worst examples of this with students committing suicide and even just falling into depressions, or I mean, just even as little as like breaking up friendships and just causing unnecessary drama. So I like that they include this in the curriculum, and the vocabulary for this one is bullying, bystander, upstander, harassment, amplify, and block. And I know that students get a lot of like assemblies and stuff like that on the topic of bullying now, and even like online bullying and harassment, but this is a little bit different. I still like what they do here, and I think it's useful. So first of all, they just like give you guidelines for how to interact with people online. Don't encourage bad behavior by giving it an audience. Don't like or respond to hurtful comments or posts. Sometimes bullies act aggressively in order to get attention, and if you and your friends don't encourage them, they're more likely to stop. That's my strategy on Facebook. So the activity here is really a writing lesson, and it focuses on tone. So English teachers will probably love this activity. It gives you a bunch of examples of comments that you might see online or in a text message. And then you have two options. You can either rewrite the statement in a more friendly or nicer tone, or you can respond to the comment and try and do it in a way that's gonna like steer the conversation in a more positive way. And like, what useful skills to have. This is great. So for example, the first one says, LOL, Connor's the only one in class not going on the camping trip this weekend. So you can either rewrite that or add a comment that's like, oh yeah, I'm sure he's really upset that he has to miss out on the fun. We should bring him back a souvenir or something like that. I don't know. Some of these are pretty realistic. Like, everybody wear purple tomorrow, but don't tell Lily. I feel like that kind of crap happened all the time when I was in like 6th and 7th grade. So that one's gonna be hard to rewrite, but that is like a seed of drama, right? Like as middle school teachers, like you just hate seeing stuff like this because you're like, ugh, this is gonna be like weeks of hurt feelings. Actually, this is totally one that would happen in my class. No offense, but your handwriting is embarrassing, so you should probably switch groups for this project. And I have students who would probably say something like that and really think that it wasn't hurtful. And there are actually probably students that would read that and like not have their feelings hurt by it either, but you just don't know how somebody is going to take your words. It's really hard to project the tone that you mean to. So this is just really useful to see. At the beginning of the year, I always teach my students how to write me an email because again, these so-called digital natives have no idea how to write an email in 6th grade usually. They don't know where to find my email, even though it's like right on the school website or like already in their contacts online. They like write in all caps and like shout at me, or they just get like straight to their question, like, why did you give me a 0 on this? And they don't have any kind of like a greeting like, hi Mrs. Forbes, how are you doing today? I seem to have a 0 for an assignment that I thought that I turned in. Could you double check? Like they don't do that. That does not come naturally to them. It's something that you have to teach. So it's really writing skills, but it's in online form. So as like English teachers or writing teachers, we have to remember that there are more forms of communication now that we need to teach them in order for them to be effective communicators in this world, in school, in their jobs, and even in their personal lives. So I like that one. And then they also have the Interland game, the Kind Kingdom, and then the discussion questions to do later. The 5th lesson, you really don't need much time for. It's just called When in Doubt, Talk It Out, and it's just this page, like this one is blank. This is just talking about times when it is necessary to involve an adult. A lot of times kids are trying to solve their own problems online, trying to solve their own bullying issues or security issues or whatever, and usually it's just out of embarrassment or shame. They don't want to ask an adult for help, but sometimes they need to make sure to do that. So this would just be like a quick discussion about times when it is going to be necessary to bring an adult into the situation. And we've all heard horror stories of like, you know, some 45-year-old man in his mother's basement pretending to be a 12-year-old girl, talking to kids in chat rooms or whatever. I guess we don't really have chat rooms anymore. But people make these like Instagram accounts that they curate specifically to target like kids or teenagers, and there's a lot of creepy stuff going on out there. And one thing that I kind of wish they would have added into this, or maybe I can do it as like a unit in my English classes, but I want kids to understand, and all of us to understand, that the internet is designed to sell you things. Like every platform is just a new way to sell you something. You see all these people looking beautiful on Instagram, and then they tag below like their outfit and their makeup and links to everything that you can buy, and they use these like filters in Photoshop to make you feel inadequate so that you don't like what you look like anymore and you want to buy everything to make yourself look like them. And like it's the oldest trick in the book, and all of these platforms are just designed to do that. They're designed to be addictive. Advertisers and the creators of these things want you to be on it all the time, and they have figured out how your brain works, and they know that it's addictive, and they know that it's hard for us to stop. I mean, I am like constantly checking my notifications and comments and emails and all of that because that's what my brain is wired to do. But we have to have the self-control and the understanding to handle social media and the internet responsibly, and understand that there are definitely people that are trying to use it in destructive ways or just to make a buck. I love the positive side effects of social media. I absolutely love Instagram. I have made genuine friends through Instagram. I've met other teachers and I get great ideas from them, but I've also seen it make me overspend or make me compare myself to people, or feel left out, or all of these negative things. And that's natural for us to have those reactions and those feelings. So we just have to find a way to make the internet awesome for us. That's why I do YouTube. That's why I'm on social media, because I'm trying to spread positivity. So anyway, I'm very excited about this curriculum. If you are also going to use it, let me know in the comments below. I'll link all of this stuff below. It's easy to find, but I'll try and make it as easy as possible. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.